Well, what a nasty surprise. Let's begin. Now, of course, the government or the councils do seem to love their cash cows, don't they? And speed cameras, unfortunately, does seem to be one of their favourites, and they've been around for ages. Now, of course, we've got ANPR cameras, who more than likely aren't ever going to make a mistake, are they? Because ANPR stands for Automatic Number Plate Recognition, and therefore surely any fine is deserved in their eyes. However, that might not be the case according to this article, because it says that failing ANPR cameras mean drivers are wrongly slapped with penalty fines of up to £105. I mean, just imagine that you're sitting there watching EastEnders or whatever, drinking a cup of tea, and you check today's post and you open up and see you are being charged for something which is not your fault, and in some cases your car could be miles away. But quite often it seems, doesn't it, the burden of proof does appear to be on us rather than those companies themselves. And a failure, it says, in the automatic number plate recognition cameras means that drivers are being hit with fines that has got nothing to do with them. But don't worry, because apparently the problem was identified when it emerged that people had received fines of up to £105 a time for failing to pay for a journey across the Dartford crossing on the M25 in Kent. And these fines, it says, were dished out despite the fact that the cars and their owners were hundreds of miles away. And the problem appears to have been caused by the ANPR cameras wrongly identifying vehicles with the number plates. I mean, surely there's no excuse for this, is there? What's the point of having a system which should be able to detect the vehicle 100% when in fact it's completely different in these cases? It's just absolutely disgraceful, and measures should be put in place to make sure that this thing does not happen in future. But just how bad was it then? Well, apparently one study suggests that the toll for using the crossing on the M25 rakes in an astonishing £209 million a year from drivers, and a large part of this, some £73 million, comes from fines, and there will now be questions over as to whether at least some of these fines were dished out unfairly, especially as of course the toll for using the crossing is £2.50, and the standard fine for failing to pay that toll is £70, which falls apparently to £35, it says, if paid within 14 days, but can go up to, wait for this, £105 for those who miss the demand. I don't know about you, but if I was one of these people, I certainly would not be paying that fine, even if, for example, I might have a hard time proving that that car is not mine. Although you'd think, wouldn't you, that they would cross-reference the registration with the make and model and colour of the car. Although sometimes it seems that doesn't actually happen, eh? But get this, one victim, Anne-Marie Kenyon, a deputy head teacher from Bury Great in Manchester, got 2 fines in the post, one in April and a further one in June this year. So this has surely been going on for months, hasn't it? Maybe even longer. And she told the BBC, so who knows how accurate that is, eh, that she was confused because she never used the crossing. Her number plate begins with DV, and on the first occasion the vehicle used in the crossing had a number plate with DY. Now, Y and V, from what I've noticed throughout my lifetime, are different letters, so it strikes me as a bit strange how come the camera misread it from DV to DY. I'm guessing it might have something to do with the screw caps or whatever that might be on the number plate. If it's a black screw cap, for example, well then I guess the computer might pick it up wrongly, but it shouldn't be able to, should it? Because you'd like to think, wouldn't you, that the resolution in the cameras would be brilliant so you can zoom in, or they can zoom in, and confirm the registration. I mean, are we going to need to be in a situation where we have to have a person manually checking every single one of these potential fines? It looks like it, doesn't it? Unless they can actually fix this, or in fact, actually until they fix this, I think they should stop sending out fines altogether. Although I guess that's just me, eh? But how did she do then? I mean, did she have to pay the fines, or was it easy for her to cancel? Well, apparently says the first fine was easy to deal with because it was during Easter holidays and she was able to phone the helpline straight away. The second, apparently, was more difficult, and she found it so frustrating, in her words, to clear her name and felt the way she was treated was poor. Although both fines were eventually cancelled, she says she is now worried about whether it will happen again, and personally, I don't blame her. This is a horrible situation for anyone to be in, and the government really does need to step in and get this sorted as soon as possible, eh? And that, of course, is just one example. No doubt there's loads more, but what have they all said about it then? Well, National Highways apparently confirmed that there can be identification problems. Yeah, well, no crap, eh? It said, in a minority of incidents, penalty charges were issued in error. Where this happens, the charge will be cancelled as soon as the customer contact us to let us know they are not the registered keeper of that vehicle. And the firm responsible for managing road user charging on the crossing is Conduent Public Sector UK Limited, which is an external one, which won a £150 million contract external from the National Highways in 2021. Well, if anything, surely that contract now needs to be renewed, unless, of course, they get a swift telling off, and they must do better in future. That contract, it says, includes provision and operation of roadside equipment to enable detection and identification of vehicles. And of course, I don't know about you, but I personally think they need to go back to school and be taught how to read, eh?